Let me start with a question that might sting. Have you ever wondered why your life feels heavier than everyone else's? Why no matter how much you give, no matter how much you pour into others, you still end up walking through seasons where you feel invisible, misunderstood, even abandoned? Let me tell you something. If that's you, it's not because you're cursed, it's because you're chosen. And being chosen is not glamorous. It's not what social media makes it look like. Being chosen means carrying weight most people will never understand. It means walking roads most people will never take. It means being set apart, often without your permission. You think this loneliness you feel is punishment, but I need you to hear me. It's evidence. It's proof that you're marked for something greater than the average life. Because, let's be honest, the crowd is comfortable, the crowd settles, the crowd follows, but you can't. Every time you try to shrink, something inside of you resists. Every time you try to blend in, your spirit aches. That's not weakness, that's calling, and that calling will cost you. It will cost you people, it will cost you comfort, and it will cost you peace in the short term. But it will give you strength, it will give you clarity, and it will give you a life that no one can erase. So, before you decide you're broken, before you assume you're unloved, stay with me. Because by the time we're done, you'll understand why a chosen woman always walks alone, and why that's the very thing that makes her unstoppable. When a woman is chosen, the first sign isn't applause. It isn't support. It isn't recognition. The first sign is separation. She suddenly feels different, detached, like she no longer fits into the same spaces where she once found comfort. And that's not an accident. That's design. See, most people crave belonging, and belonging often means conformity. It means you bend yourself into a shape that others can accept, but a chosen woman can't do that. Her edges are too sharp, her spirit too alive, her vision too wide to fit into the box of average. That's why she ends up walking alone. It's not because something is wrong with her, but because she was never supposed to blend in. Think about it. The greatest shifts in history, the boldest breakthroughs, the most unshakable leaders, none of them started in the crowd. They started in obscurity. They started misunderstood. They started separated. That's the paradox of purpose. The very thing that makes her powerful is the very thing that makes her isolated. Psychologically, this isolation forces strength. When no one validates you, you learn to validate yourself. When no one encourages you, you learn to become your own source of fuel. When no one claps, you learn to build without an audience. And that mental independence is what makes a chosen woman dangerous in the best way, because she is no longer dependent on external approval to move forward. Philosophically, you could say this separation is proof of alignment. Every calling is bigger than the container of comfort. If you feel the tension of not belonging, it means you're being stretched into a new dimension. That's not rejection, that's redirection. The path is narrowing, and not everyone is meant to walk it with you. So, if you feel alone right now, if you feel like you're carrying something no one else seems to understand, stop interpreting that as a sign that you're lost. It's actually the opposite. It's confirmation that you've been marked for more. That's why a chosen woman always walks alone, not because she is unwanted, but because she is unmatched. And the sooner you accept that truth, the sooner you stop begging for seats at tables that were never built to hold your weight. The crowd isn't your validation, your calling is. Remember this, the loneliness of today is the evidence of the influence you'll carry tomorrow. Loneliness has a way of convincing you that you've done something wrong, that you've failed, that somehow the silence around you is punishment. But the truth is, for a chosen woman, loneliness is never punishment. It is preparation. It is the refining process that molds you into the person your purpose requires you to be. Think about it. When everything is loud, when the room is crowded, when opinions are flooding your ears, you can't hear your own voice. You can't even recognize your own instincts. It's only in the quiet, in the solitude, that you start to understand what you carry. The silence is not empty, it's full of clarity, and that clarity is only revealed when you walk through seasons of isolation. Psychologically, what feels like abandonment is actually resilience training. It's in the lonely nights where you discover how much you can endure. It's in the unanswered calls, the empty rooms, the tears you cry with no audience. Those are the reps, the hidden workouts for your soul. Because when you finally step into the world with your calling, you won't crumble when people misunderstand you. You won't break when support is thin. You'll already know how to stand because you've stood before alone. And here's the hard part. Preparation always feels heavier than the mission. Just like an athlete trains with more weight than they will ever carry in the game, a chosen woman experiences deeper isolation than she will ever feel in the season of her influence. That's the point. If you can stand in the desert, you'll have no problem thriving in the promised land. Philosophically, loneliness is a stripping away. It removes the illusions, the false attachments, the distractions that dilute your focus. It forces you to stop outsourcing your worth and finally see that you are enough without the echo of applause. That's not weakness, that's transformation. So don't run from the loneliness. Don't medicate it with people who don't match your calling. Don't rush to fill it with noise. Let it work. Let it do its job, because the very thing you're trying to escape might be the very thing shaping you for the greatness you prayed for. The fire of isolation doesn't burn you down. It burns off what you no longer need, and when you rise from it, you won't just survive your purpose. You'll embody it. So here's the truth to carry with you. The loneliness of today is not the end of your story. It's the classroom of your destiny. When a woman is chosen, she eventually realizes something that changes everything. She was never meant to fit in. She was meant to build, and that's the distinction that separates the ordinary from the unforgettable. See, most people spend their lives chasing acceptance, trying to squeeze into spaces that weren't designed for them. They want a seat at the table, they crave a name on the guest list, they wait for permission to enter rooms that were never built to hold their greatness. But a chosen woman doesn't ask for permission. She creates what doesn't exist. She builds the table. She designs the room, and when she does, the world has no choice but to adjust to her presence. This is why fitting in has always felt impossible for you. It's not that you're broken. It's not that you're too much. It's that your blueprint doesn't match the structure you're trying to enter. You're carrying an architecture no one else has seen yet, and the frustration you feel when people don't understand you. That's not failure, that's proof you're ahead of them. Psychologically, this is the transition point. When you stop searching for belonging in others and start grounding yourself in your purpose, you unlock a level of power that no one can take from you. You no longer need validation because your identity isn't tied to approval. It's tied to destiny, and people can't cancel what they didn't create. Philosophically, building instead of fitting in is an act of leadership. Leaders don't follow the path, they carve it. They don't inherit the blueprint, they draw it. And the chosen woman, by design, is a pioneer. Her very isolation equips her to create new structures because she isn't distracted by the pull of conformity. That's why you must stop wasting energy trying to convince small minds of your vision. Some people simply can't see what you see because they weren't given your eyes. And that's okay. Your job is not to shrink down to their view. Your job is to build what only you were entrusted to build. So if you've been wondering why you don't belong, why no table feels right, why no circle seems to fit, it's because you were never called to join. You are called to create, and the moment you step into that truth, the world will finally recognize what you carried all along. Remember this, a chosen woman doesn't adapt to the world adapts to her.